Greetings, real estate investors. This is Andy Heller. I'm joined by my friend and fellow educator, Alan Cowgill. So we've got this weekend workshop coming up in January, the 24th and 25th, and you're considering spending a couple of days with us. Why? That's a great question. Let's try to answer what we're going to cover. And why don't we first start off with introductions? I'll do myself, and we'll pass on to you, Alan. So I've been investing since 1990. I'd like to say I started when I was 5, but I'm much older than that. And I've been teaching real estate investing since 2006, almost 2 decades. So my model is called the Buy Low, Rent Smart, Sell High model. And our model got recommended by Fortune magazine among the top 5 wealth building models for real estate investors. So what is it that we teach? On the buying end, we teach investors how to buy bank-owned properties, also called REOs. Now, after the foreclosure sale, before a property pops up on MLS, it's typically 3 to 6 months. We teach you how to work that 3 to 6 month window, how to approach smaller banks directly. And for the larger banks, their listings are going to end up, for the most part, with a handful of agents in every community. We call them REO agents. We teach you how to find them, how to introduce yourself to them, how to get on their radar and become one of the investors that they turn to when they have to move a property. Once you've purchased a property, we teach you how to wholesale, how to flip, and if you can't get quick cash, we teach you how to roll the property into a rent smart lease option, where many of the properties sell 3, 7, 15 years down the road. And those that don't sell, your tenants pay off your mortgage and you've got a retirement plan. I hope that sounds appealing. Now, I'm only part of the equation. On the 24th and 25th of January, my good friend and fellow speaker, Alan, is going to be handling the afternoon sessions. And don't let the gray hair fool you. He's only 45 years old. And but he's been teaching since he was 5. But I'll let Alan tell you more about him and what he's going to teach. And then I'll come and finish up with why this weekend is so important and why you should spend the weekend with us.
Well, that's great. I'll tell you what, I started in real estate in 1995. In 2001, I became a full-time real estate investor. And along the way, it's been a great ride, I'll tell you that. I teach folks all about private money. If you don't know what that is, I will teach you that. I'm going to show you how to attract lenders, how to convert them into private money lenders, so they loan you money, and then manage them on how to do it safely so they can follow the rules. There's some handful of rules out there. Look, the type of deals that you can do with private money is commercial deals, residential deals. Students that have become hard money lenders, because many of them they have used my system for that and become hard money lenders. Note buyers use my system, and you can even buy your own home with private money. And when I go to California, where Andy lives, sometimes I get movie producers also. So that really kind of surprised me when I did that. So the list goes on and on. My students, over the lifetime of my workshops, on the first day of the event alone, have amassed over $500 million of private money. It's real. It's awesome. So how do you get private lenders? Well, my first private lender was my mom. What had happened was I sat down with her at the kitchen table, and I told her what I was doing, and she had a bank CD, and she cashed that out and loaned that money to me, and she jumped for joy. She was ecstatic on that. So that's a good way to do it. I did bank CDs for years, and then along the way, I realized that I could use another way, which is self-directed IRAs. That is another great way. And that provided another stream of income for my students and I. In August one year, I had a massive amount of private money, and it just shocked me how much money started to come in. And in less than a year, I did over 50 properties. So What Andy is talking about, we talked about it at Hand and Glove, where we fit together, where he does his stuff, and then I bring the money in. And it's just been great for everybody. And folks need to sign up for this. Andy, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, let me just kind of take what you just said and summarize it, Alan. You know, at these workshops that we've been doing for 20 years, I think the number one reason that somebody who's there and is interested doesn't invest is they don't have the ability to get an investor loan from a bank, or they don't have the cash to invest. They have the desire, but they don't have the capital. Is it a fair statement, Alan, that raising private money is probably the single greatest way for investors who want to invest in real estate but are not starting out without the capital to get started out of the gate? Is that a fair statement?
That is a fair statement, and it is awesome when people get into this and they find that they can get private money. It changes their whole life, and just amazing at how it works. So just so important people get private money, because going to the banks and hard money lenders, those are tough, and some people have not be able to go through. But with private money, you get to set the rules.
Yeah,
So
and let me make a comment, because while we are both fellow educators, I've been at Alan's seminars focusing on private money, everybody. And to be frank, he didn't do himself justice with his introduction. The bulk of capital oftentimes comes from people you don't even know. So in Alan's situation, he went to mom, okay? He went to his self-directed IRA. What he teaches for those of us who don't have family immediately or friends to help out is how to go out in the community, announce yourself as an investor, get people eager enough to give you capital, but to manage this in the right way that you are in compliance with the SEC, and you can do it and do it the right way and the legal way. So when Alan talks about $500 million, this isn't about going to mom. It's about going to people you don't know, raising the capital so you can invest today instead of waiting down the road. Is that a pretty fair statement, Alan?
100%. You got to make sure that you know the rules, like I said a little bit ago. So you don't want to jump out there and go on your own. You need to get the training, and that's so important. And I spend a lot of time on that, and my students really are grateful because I do that.
Great. So why is this workshop on the 24th and 25th of January so timely? And why should you guys spend a weekend with us? I'm going to do my best to answer that. And at the end, there'll be an opportunity for you to register. So both Alan and I, jokes aside, we're not that young any longer. We've been investing for each of us for over 30 years. And if there's one thing I've learned in real estate investing, is that history repeats itself. Now let's look at history. And those of you that are younger, maybe you can take what I'm about to say right now, talk to mom and dad, and they'll verify that this is the way history is played out. In the late 80s, there was a savings and loans collapse that was followed by an adjustment in real estate, call it a real estate reset. And that produced a period of 1 or 2 years where investors could buy property below market at crazy discounts. And then property began to appreciate, and there was a recovery. Guess what happened in 1999? The dot-com bubble burst, whoop, followed by a couple-year recession. And again, investors who were active in those recessions, in that recession, were able to buy property at considerable discounts over what real estate sold for just months or years earlier. Guess what happened then? In the 2000s, we had rapid appreciation. And in August of 2008, we had the Lehman Brothers collapse, which triggered the Great Recession. And we had basically, again, a real estate reset. And property could be acquired, depending on what part of the United States you lived in, between 20 and 50% below market for 2 to 4 years. And most of those deals were bank-owned properties. Now, let's go and look at this and see if there's a pattern. every 8 to 12 years, there's a real estate reset, values fall, bank-owned properties and deals skyrocket, and investors who are able to buy in those 2 or 3 years can buy at 20, 30, 40% less than what properties went for just before the reset. Now, here we are in 2025, and it's longer than the 8 to 12 years. What's happened, everybody? Well, I'm not an economics major or a professor, but most of the those who follow the economic trends and study them and are much smarter than me, they are of the opinion that the reason a reset did not happen in 2020 is because of COVID. Not because of the virus, but because as a result of the COVID and the threat to the global economy, countries around the world pumped cash into their economy. And in our country, if you put $7 trillion in the US economy, whatever reset was going to happen in real estate, the stocks, venture capital market, it all gets delayed. And there are many that feel that that delay is going to result in a reset that is even more significant, with an opportunity for investors that could be generational. Now, when these resets occur, I want to leave you all with 2 powerful points. The first point is the resets don't just happen, everybody. There are signs that the reset is coming. And the number one sign is when you see more and more people getting behind in their mortgage and foreclosure starts increasing. The statistics that I have right now are through September. And September of this year compared to September of last year, the percentage of properties that are more than 90%, more than 90 days delinquent has increased 4%. That's pretty significant because it doesn't take a big percentage for you to see a large increase in foreclosures. Now, this is the big one, everybody. September this year to September last year, foreclosure starts are up 61%. That is a big deal. That means that the market, we're seeing signs that there is a shift starting. Now, these same signs, everybody, were apparent in 2006 and 2007 before the real estate market reset in August of 2008. If you want to see something that really shows this well, go watch the movie The Big Short. Because The Big Short is all about the signs that were there that a few people saw and acted on and made a lot of money. Well, the same signs are there today. The question is, who will be the ones to make money when the market resets? Now, the second point I want to make is that when you have resets and real estate values fall dramatically, there are some real estate strategies that are better for these resets than others. Without a doubt, the dominant way to acquire properties below market in the last Great Recession were bank-owned properties. In fact, in some communities around the country, the percentage of retail properties on the market that were bank-owned foreclosures was around 40%. That's nuts. That number should be 1 or 2%. And I'm the guy who teaches how to buy these types of properties. The other thing that is very common in resets is you're typically in recessionary times. And if you're in a recessionary time, it's much more difficult to flip property. because there's not many buyers. So again, arguably the best hold-in strategy in recessionary times is the lease option, because you lock in a property you bought below market today and you sell it down the road, hopefully when there's been some appreciation. I don't teach one of these topics, I teach them both. And again, like Alan said, the hand in glove fits like a glove. The piece that might be missing is, where's the cash going to come from for me to get started if I don't have enough cash to buy from banks? And that part will come from Alan. You know, Alan and I have had a lot of success invested in real estate. We probably don't have a whole lot of regrets. We both love to teach and have been teaching people like you for years. I have one regret. I knew 08 was coming. I didn't know about exactly when or how deep it would be, but I knew it was coming because I saw signs in 06 and 07. And when it came, I was absolutely active buying property below market. But had I done a few things differently in 06 and 07 to get ready, I could have and should have bought 10 times the number. I'm not going to make that same mistake again. And what I'm trying to say today as we wrap up this short video is the same opportunity that Alan and I will be teaching you all to get ready for. I'm still doing that myself. I believe that reset is coming. I'm ready for it. I've got the perfect model for it. And to be frank, we could bring on 3,000 more students and it wouldn't make a dent when that reset comes. The only thing that Alan and I can't do for you is hit the QR code and register. You've got to make that decision yourself. I've been teaching for 20 years. I've made hundreds, if not thousands, of investors like you, hundreds and thousands and even millions of dollars. But the only way to give yourself a chance is to attend. Our commitment to both of you is the most amazing and educational weekend that you may attend in your entire life. Spend the weekend with us. It doesn't matter where you live. It's all remote. If you miss a segment, we can get it to you. Yeah. But you've got to register. That part you got to do yourself. We hope to see you on January 24th and 25th. Alan, anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
Well, man, you hit it right on the nose. You really spell it out. So everybody just sign up and get started on this. You'll be amazed. We'll see you on January 24th. Have a cup of coffee, get ready, have your notepad, and we can't wait. Yep. To your wealth.